49ers. That's going to be our sports topic of the day or of the week, because let's be real. No one wants to talk about Novak Djokovic and the vaccination crisis. It's over. The Australian Open's begun. We're in the second round. Matches are being played. People are competing. It's great. But can we talk about the San Francisco 49ers for a second? Can we talk about the 49ers for a second? I know I do a lot of negative talking, negative communication about this team. I really have this past year. I've been very pessimistic. I don't know. It's been a tough year for me as a fan, because they really did start off the year extremely poorly. The first 8 weeks of this year were horrible. We're 3-5. We're playing terrible opponents. And losing. It was terrible. I mean, the quarterback situation is still not great, but it was a lot of losing. And then we figured out that, a lot of things, amongst the fact that we had actually a pretty good defense. They just needed time to sort of reacclimate. We also have a pretty damn good running back who's also a wide receiver by the name of Deebo Samuel. He's kind of been carrying our offense the last 9 weeks, I guess. Anyway, let me just say, the 49ers have always been special to me. I know I've done a lot of shit talking about them this year. I know I've talked a lot of crap about the San Francisco 49ers. But the Bay Area is my hometown, okay? And I will always rep this football team. Doesn't matter how good they are, doesn't matter how bad they are. I'll wear their gear no matter what. But here's the thing. I'm not going to necessarily agree with every decision the franchise makes. I think as a fan, we're taught we're supposed to ride with our team and we're supposed to have hope in this franchise and blah, blah, blah. But I'm I like to think of myself as someone who likes to think critically. And as a critical thinker, as the intellectuals say, I question a lot of the decisions the 49ers front office and the brass makes. But let me just say this and give them their credit. 3 months ago, if you asked me if the 49ers were going to make the playoffs, I'd tell you, you crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. No way they're going to be in the playoffs, let alone win a playoff game. But they went 7-2 their last 9 games. They won their NFC wildcard game against the Dallas Cowboys. I almost said Cowgirls. Sorry. And suddenly we're here. We're about to play in a divisional playoff game against the Green Bay Packers, the number 1 seed in the NFC. I didn't think we'd be here a few months ago, and it's pretty cool to be here. I like playoff football a lot. Playoff football hits different when your team's playing, and my team happens to be still in the tournament. We're still in the dance, baby. So that's pretty cool. And honestly, I haven't talked really a lot of positive things about these guys in the last, 3 months or so. So let me just say some positive things. I love Deebo Samuel. I definitively said it on Instagram, but let me definitively say it on the podcast. Deebo Samuel is one of my favorite players on the 49ers and in the league and in football. He's probably my favorite player right now in football. This dude is electric to watch. Every time he gets the ball, he does something fun, right? Even though everybody's oh, it's going to be a 10-yard loss. Deebo makes it a 3-yard game. It's great. He's that type of player where he gets the ball, he's going to be explosive. He adds a new element to this running game. He's also a receiver that can catch passes. We forget about that sometimes. And during the LA Rams game, the guy can throw the ball too. He threw a touchdown pass to Juwan Jennings. This dude can do it all. He's so much fun to watch. He's absolutely electric as a player. He's incredible. And he deserves all the credit in the world. He deserves all the money in the world. This dude he's the Swiss Army knife of this offense. It's pretty cool. I've heard people talk about Deebo Samuel and be like, he's Draymond Green. And he is the Draymond Green for the 49ers. He can do it all. He can play all sorts of positions, skill positions for the 49ers and really, run, catch, run the ball, catch the ball, block for a running back who's running through the lane or whatever. He can really do a lot of things. And it's pretty cool. He's just a lot of fun to watch. Let me share some other positive news. Kyle Shanahan has gotten his head out of his ass and has decided to run the ball finally. I love that. I love the fact that we're running the ball. He's found the identity for this team. Not only did he find Deebo Samuel as the running back and identify that as a potential way to win games, but he's also really expanded his running game. He's in his bag right now. He's deep in his bag. I mean, every coach has to be very deep in their bag when Jimmy Garoppolo is their quarterback. But he's very he's doing a lot of good things in regards to everything that's going on in San Francisco. And he is a big credit as to why we're in the playoffs. The 49ers are special to me no matter what happens. I mean, I've watched this team since they were mediocre, since they were, you know, really bad, really down in the dumps, fourth in the NFC West every year, pack it up in November. Like I've seen every single struggle with this team. I've seen us go home in the divisional. I've seen us go home in the actually wait. I mean, I've seen us, not make the playoffs. I've seen us go home early in the playoffs. I've seen us go home in a heartbreaking loss at the NFC Championship. I've seen us go home in the Super Bowl. Like I've seen all sorts of things for this 49er team. And all I've ever wanted as a fan, was one time, just one time. As a fan, I want to win the Super Bowl. I just want the 49ers to win a Super Bowl. And if they win the Super Bowl, they can have my heart forever. Like that'll gain my good graces for a long time. The last time the 49ers won a Super Bowl was 1994. I have never seen them win a Super Bowl. My brother has never seen them win a Super Bowl. He was born in, 94. So a lot of Niner fans out here don't don't know what, like the younger generation don't know what it's like to have won a Super Bowl, and this franchise frankly is filled with, a lot of greatness. Joe Montana, Steve Young, um, Jerry Rice, Bronny Lott, Bryant Young, Dwight Clark. Like you could go down the huge list of legends that were present with the 49ers through the 80s and the 90s. I mean, this was a dynastic franchise. They were the New England Patriots of, 20 years ago. And the fact is, like, sorry, 30, 40 years ago, they were the New England Patriots of today. Like they were the equivalent of that in football. And the sad part is, like, I have never seen that. I have never seen that. And I like, as a 49er fan, like, you hear all the lore, you hear all the legends, you hear all these amazing stories of like winning Super Bowls and like making huge comebacks in the playoffs and all of this stuff. But the only thing I've really been privy to over the last, I guess 15 years of being a fan is a lot of heartbreaking losses. And if we do make the Super Bowl, more heartbreak. So I am just over the moon. And like what I realized back in 2019 when the 49ers made the playoffs for the first time in like 5 years after their, big run of losing, was I'm just going to enjoy the hell out of this playoff run. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of the playoffs because you don't know how many times as a franchise you're going to get it again. And finally, they missed the Super Bowl back in 2020. Obviously, they lost in the Super Bowl. And there was a long, long hiatus. It felt so long. It felt so long, dude. Um, Even though it's like a year since we've been in the playoffs officially, 2020 Super Bowl, 2022 playoffs here. Like it's felt like an eternity. COVID, all of the shit has gone wrong in the world, but on the other side of it, at least the 49ers made the playoffs. I don't know. It's given me a little bit of hope, I guess, in some instances. Why do I love the Niners? I grew up here. I mean, like, I grew up with this team. If you think about it, like, these athletes are like my family in some weird way, if you look at it that way, right? Like, I know I grew up watching, Colin Kaepernick, like, grow up in front of my eyes. Even though I was 12, which was weird because like he was way older, but like I watched that, like I call him a kid. I watched Colin Kaepernick go from like this kid, this athletic kid, to this social justice god, right? And this guy who was being interviewed by CNN and just this big deal throughout national media. I saw that whole story, like literally from the very beginning to the very end. I've seen eras come and go. I've seen coaches be fired after a year. Like the athletes that have been a part of these 49er teams since like I was a kid are literally a part of my family. Like in my weird, family, I guess. Not family really, but like I don't know. They always feel like I feel a close connection to a lot of the athletes that play on this team. I give Jimmy Garoppolo a lot of crap, but like I feel very connected to him in some weird way. That like I've watched this man go from the hope and savior of this franchise to the guy everybody's going to count out when he plays another poor game, because he probably will, right? I just said it again. Love you, Jimmy. But I don't know, the memories surrounding the 49ers, the vibes. I put out a question earlier this week saying, like, how much do you guys love sports? And like 94% of my viewers were like, yes. Um, I think it really is because of the fact that you have so many memories surrounding it. You have like the vibes of like the intense moments of a game, right? And it coming down to the wire, the playoffs. Like, there's nothing like a playoff game in the NBA or the NFL or MLB or whatever it is. Like playoffs, the playoffs are just different. The intensity is different. The sense of urgency, the moments, like those, the things that happen in the regular season are amplified by 100 in the playoffs, and it creates this incredible environment. And I just, any playoff really thing that you ever watch is just incredible. It's a beautiful, it's awesome. Like, I really don't know how else to describe it. It's great. It's magical. Like, it truly is. Like, as someone who loves like narratives and stories and books and like grew up reading mythology and all of these, Greek stories about gods and Hades and all of that. Sports is so, like, such an analogy for all of that, all of those fictional stories. It's the most beautiful narrative in the world, like, in my opinion. And as someone who like was a former English major, like, sports is the best, like, sports narratives and like the whole world of sports. It's this own incredible ecosystem of like the world's biggest reality TV show that's like that goes on. And it's amazing. Like, and if you're not in the bubble of sports, if you don't understand what's going on, you're gonna hate it. You hate it. I have a lot of friends who are like, "Oh, like, Anuj, you're watching another game? Like, this sucks." But like, if you know what's going on, you're addicted. You can't stop. It's great. It's like a drug. Wow. I really went from drug addiction. I really went from like loving sports to like drug addiction. But anyway, the 49ers are in the playoffs and they're playing the divisional game. Let's see what happens. Win or lose, I'll always be a fan. Can't take all this stuff down and replace it with other stuff. Excited to see how they do, honestly. It's going to be tough. The Packers are really good. They got Aaron Rodgers. They got Devontae Adams. It's going to be a good team. I think the Niners are going to win, but I'm not super confident in the pick. We'll see, though. We'll see. I think it's going to be a really good game, and I'm really excited for Saturday.